Hi everyone, I'm Maggie Weldon from maggiescrochet.com, and in this video my helper Christina is going to show you how to make this adorable little egg. It could be used as a Friggy, but it's a little egg and the duck comes out of it. Oh, this is like one of my favorites. We're actually doing about 8 videos for Easter this year. And this is just one of the 8. This was done in sport weight cotton yarn. You could also try it in a worsted weight yarn. And make sure that you subscribe to our channel and like, comment, and share on our videos. It really helps us out a lot to help us build our channel. And I hope that you have a great Easter, and I hope that you enjoy this project. Thank you for watching.
Hey everybody, it's Christina from maggiescrochet.com. Today I want to show you the pattern for the Easter egg and duck applique. This is pattern number FP219, and it is this adorable little duck in an egg. Duck is removable, so you know, you have half an egg and you have a little duck. But I just think this is one of the cutest things ever. I'm so excited about showing you this pattern. So I need 3 colors for this. I need white for the egg, orange for the beak, and yellow for the duck itself. Now this sample here, this was worked with sport weight number 3 yarn and a size F5 crochet hook. Today I'm going to show you, this is the Elizabeth crochet thread that we carry at maggiescrochet.com. I'm going to show you this. It's a little thinner than a sport weight yarn, so I'm going to use a size E4 hook today. So I've got the white and the orange in the number 3. Unfortunately, I'm out of the yellow in the number 3 right now, so this is actually the number 10. Now in crochet thread, the higher the number, the smaller the thread. You can see here the yellow is a lot smaller than the orange, but you know what, that's okay. I'm going to work a double strand of yellow for my duck. So let's see, I've got my yarn ready, I've got my hook. I'm also going to need a yarn needle and my little snippers. And at the very end, I'll need a hot glue gun to give him a little eye. But we can wait and heat that up in a little bit. All right, I want to start by showing you the egg. Just let me clear out here a little bit. Now we're going to work the front and the back of the egg separately, and then we'll sew them together. So let's start with the back of the egg. Start with a slip stitch on your crochet hook. Surprise, surprise there. Okay, now row 1 is the right side of our egg, and we're starting at the bottom of the egg. I'm going to chain 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're going to do 2 double crochets in the 3rd chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to count that, the chains we skipped, we're going to count that as a double crochet as well. So after I finish doing these 2, then we're going to count that as 1, 2, 3. Okay? For the next 3 double crochets, I'm going to do for the next 3 chains, I'm going to do 1 double crochet per chain. So 1, 2, and 3. And in my last chain here, I'll go ahead and do another 2 double crochets. So when I'm done, including my turning chain, I will have 8 double crochets. There we go. That's 8. Row 2, chain 2. Again, we're going to count that as a double crochet. Turn. Double crochet in the first double crochet, that's what this one here right next to the chain. double crochet in each one across. So that'll be 6 across. And then in the last double crochet, which is actually the turning chain from the previous row, we're going to do another 2 double crochets so that this row ends up with 10 double crochets, including that first turning chain. All right, that was row 2. Row 3, chain 2, turn, 1 double crochet in each one across. So you skip the first one because that counts as, since your turning chain counts as 1, you skip that one. So this is our second one, and then we'll just work 1 double crochet per stitch across. So that's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And our last one goes into the turning chain of the previous row. Okay? That was row 3. We're going to do rows 4, 5, and 6 the same way. I'm going to do that off camera, but I'll show you back to how, come back to show you how to do rows 7, 8, and 9. But rows 4, 5, and 6 going to be just like row number 3. So I've just finished row number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 10 stitches across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 9 and 10. Forgot about that last one there. All right, now I've finished row 6 and I've got 10 stitches across. So for row 7, just like we've been doing, chain 2 and turn, but we're going to start with a double crochet decrease. So it's like starting a double crochet. We've got 3 hook loops on the hook here, but instead of pulling through that last one, I'm going to start my next one, and then when I have 3 loops on the hook, I'll pull through. We're going to then double crochet across and do the same thing at the end. So when this row's done, instead of having 10 stitches, we'll have 8 because we'll have done 2 decreases. All right, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great. So for the last one, here on the top of the double crochet, go through, pull through the first 2, then yarn over. We're going into the chain this time. You got 4 loops on your hook, pull through 2, and then pull through all 3. So now if you count your loops at the top, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 with the turning chain. Row 8 is the same thing. Of course, we have less stitches this time, so this time instead of going from 10 to 8, we're going from 8 to 6. So work a double crochet decrease in the first 2 stitches. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perfect. So once we do our decrease, we'll have just 6 on this row. All right, so there's 6. One more time, this time we're going from 6 to 4. So chain 2 and turn, work a decrease. Then you've only got one regular double crochet, and then you'll work one more decrease. All right, and that is the back of the egg. We start at the bottom, so this is the top right side of our egg. Now we're going to go ahead and finish around the edge here. And for the finishing, no need to turn. We're just going to work, this is the right side. We're going to keep working on the right side. And your finish is chain 1, slip stitch 1. Whoops. That's it, just chain 1, slip stitch 1 all the way around the edge evenly. Let's see, since these are double crochets, I'm going to try to do 1 chain and 1 slip per row. I may need to do a little more than that. Definitely don't need to try to spread it out any further than that, but I think if I do 1 chain and 1 slip per row, no, that's going to be just a little bit tight. See how it's kind of clumping up there? So let me go back to the end of row 9. That's where it was. And you may have to try it a few times to figure out, you know, depending on how loose your stitches are, whether you're using this Elizabeth thread or the sport weight yarn, what size hook you're using. It may take you a few times to figure out exactly what the right spacing is. But don't worry about it, I have to rip stuff up all day long. So if it takes you just a minute or two to figure it out, don't worry at all. So basically, guys, I'm going to finish doing this chain 1 slip stitch all the way around. It's just going to give us a nice edge. And when I'm done with that, I will clip off and weave in my ends, and then I will come back and show you the front half of the shell that's going to make our cute little pocket for our duck. So here's the back part of the egg. I finished all the edging and gone ahead and finished off and woven in my ends. So I'm going to set this to the side for a minute. Now the front part of the egg starts exactly the same as the back part. The first 3 rows are exactly the same, so I've gone ahead and done them here. 4th row is a little different. So after you finish the 3rd row, we're going to chain 3. And turn. Now slip stitch in the 2nd chain from the hook. 1, 2. Single crochet in the next chain. Okay, so that was all worked into the chain 3 we just did. Okay, skip the first double crochet of row 3, slip stitch in the next double crochet. So skip 1, skip 2, or go into 2, slip, just a slip stitch. Okay, then we're going to chain 3, slip stitch in the 2nd chain from the hook, single crochet in the next chain, that'd be the bottom one, skip next double crochet, slip stitch in the following one. So what we're making here are some little pickets. That's what you call these little things that stick up like that. It's called a picket. Okay, so we're just going to finish this across. 2, 3. Slip stitch in the 2nd one from the hook. I got that a little bit tight. And then single crochet in the bottom chain, skip a double crochet, slip stitch in the following one. So you end up with like this little jagged shell kind of effect. We'll get a couple more in here. Chain 3, slip stitch in the 2nd one or the middle one, whichever, I mean it's the same thing, whichever makes more sense to you to think about it. Single crochet in the bottom one, skip a double crochet, slip stitch in the next one, and then we'll get one more in here. single crochet, and then this last slip stitch is going to be in the top of the turning chain. Okay, now normally I would say not to finish this off, but as you can see I have reached the end of my ball of yarn, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this through. You want to leave this in long enough that you can use it to sew both sides together. I might be able to get out this much left. I'll probably end up having to tack on a new piece of thread to sew them together. But you know what, we can do that in a couple minutes. First we gotta make a duck. Alright, so we've gotta make a duck. Again, I'm using double-stranded size 10 crochet thread for this since I didn't have it in the size 3. It's not gonna matter, it's gonna work out great. You're gonna start, of course, with your slip stitch and then chain 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. In the third chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, we're going to work a double crochet. In the next 2 chain spaces, we're going to work 1 double crochet. And then in the last chain space, we're going to do 2 double crochets. Come on, get in there. There we go. All right, so there's row 1. We should have 6 double crochets, including the turning chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Chain 2 and turn. Okay, and again, we're gonna be counting our chains as a double crochet. So after we chain and turn, we're gonna do a double crochet in this very first stitch, because we need to increase this round. Double crochet in each one across. And then in the last stitch, which is actually the top of the turning chain, we're going to do 2 double crochets. So we should now have 8 across. Getting ahead of myself. Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. I always stop and count a little more often than I think I really need to, just in case I have made a mistake. That way I catch it a little bit quicker and don't have to rip out quite as much. All right, for row 3, chain 2 and turn. We're going to double crochet in the next double crochet. So we're going to skip this one. Since we're counting that turning chain as our first double crochet. Working all the way across. And then in the last stitch, which is the top of our turning chain, we'll work 2 double crochets, and now we should have 9 stitches. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Row 4, this is the tail. Chain 3, turn, single crochet in the second chain from the hook, so skip 1. And then in the second chain, we'll work a single crochet, single crochet in the next chain, now you're going to, oops, I lost my place. Now you skip the first double crochet of this row, which is that one right there, and do a slip stitch in the next one. The little joining slip stitch, just like that. And you're going to do that in the next 3, 2, 3, The only thing about working with double thread is make sure that you always pick up both strands. Okay, so we skip the first double crochet, slip stitched in the next one, and then the following 3. Now we've got to make the head. So we're going to do a slip stitch and then chain 2 and a double crochet in all in this next one. So one bit at a time. Slip stitch, chain 2, and double crochet in the same place where we did the slip stitch. Okay, double crochet in the next one. Two double crochets in the next one. And then if we were working the full row, we would still have the turning chain we could work into, but we're going to leave that as is. So we've got, counting the turning chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets as our head. We've got our little tail sticking up right there. Row 5 is going to be the top of the head. So chain 2, turn, double crochet in each of the next 3 double crochets. Two, 3, and then in the last double crochet, which is our turning chain, we're going to do a half double. So you loop over, you yarn over, pick up a loop from behind, pull it through. You've got 3 loops on your hook, and go ahead and pull through all 3 of them at the same time. Okay, that's the end of your head. But don't finish it off here, because we're going to go ahead and around and do an edging. It's going to be the same edging we did for the egg. Chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, slip stitch, all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that. And then I'll come back and show you how to put on the wing and the beak and the feet, and then we'll have our little duck and our little egg all together. So here's our duck after we finished with the edging. You see that kind of just smooths it out a little bit. But it's not much of a duck if we don't give him any wings. So take your yellow again. We're going to make the wing, and then we'll sew it onto the duck when we're done. So start with your slip stitch, chain 3. This is the base of the wing. This is where you will sew him on when we get there. So we chain 3, we're going to do 2 double crochets in the first chain. That's the very first one we did, the furthest from the hook. Try to make sure you, if you're using a double strand like I am, always make sure you get both strands on your hook. One double crochet, 2, now I got too many strands, there we go. Alright, so including the turning chain, 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and pull my slip knot a little tighter. You can always adjust that later as well. Okay, for the next row, chain 2 and turn. Double crochet in each double crochet across. So you'll have, again, 3 stitches. 1, 2, and then into the top of the turning chain is your 3rd one. Okay, that's it. That's all we're doing for the wing. But we're going to do the same edging, the chain 1 slip stitch around the whole wing. We'll finish it off. We'll leave a nice long tail so we can sew it onto our duck. Then I'm going to do that in a minute. Let me go ahead and show you the beak and the feet. So I'm back to, this is my size 3 Elizabeth orange thread. Go ahead and get a slip stitch on your hook. Now this we're going to work directly onto our little duck body, okay? So this is the right side with the head on the right, the tail on the left, just think head on the right side. We're going to join with a slip stitch to the outer edge of the head between rows 4 and 5. Row 5 was our last one, so we can see right there is in between. So we're going to join just right in here, just with a slip stitch. chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to slip stitch in the same spot that we joined, chain 4, 2, 3, and 4, and slip stitch in that same spot again. Okay, that's all there is for the beak. It's just those 2 little knobs there. So we'll snip this off, even enough to weave in. Okay, so we'll weave that in a minute, but let's go ahead and do the feet while we've got the orange out. He's got like a funny little alfalfa hair or something. All right, for the feet, again, go ahead and get your slip knot on your hook. Well, okay, so again, looking at the right side of the duck, which head on the right side, working in our foundation chain, which we have edged into, but that's okay, we can work into that. Join with a slip stitch to the first chain. So turn your duck upside down. See, first chain is going to be right about here. And we're going to join with our slip stitch. Alright, there we're joined. Get a little more yarn out to work with. And then chain 4, 3, 4, slip stitch into the next foundation chain. You can also go into the edging chain if that's easier, okay? We did that once. I'm going to do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then into the foundation chain. Okay, so he's got 2 little feet there. We can cut this down. Oops, almost. There we go. Alright, and then we'll weave in our ends. So I'm going to weave in all my loose ends here. I'm going to do the slip 1, the chain 1, slip stitch 1 edging around the wing and leave a long tail. I'll come back, show you how to sew the wing on, show you sewing the egg together, and then we'll be pretty much done. So here's our little duck after we've tucked all the ends in, and he's missing 2 things. One of them is a wing. So here's our wing. The pointy end, see how that's a little pointer? That's the bottom, and where your yarn comes out, that's going to be where you sew him on. So you want to sew him on, let's see, it's about, let's use this guy as a guide. He's about in the middle of, about the top of the 3rd row, or the bottom of the 4th, whichever way you prefer to look at it. So 1, 2, 3, here's our 3rd and 4th rows, so kind of right here along the base of the head. Got my needle threaded, and I'm just going to kind of whip stitch him on. Now this guy is not going to have to be under a lot of pressure as far as, you know, little children grabbing on his wing or anything, so I can do just a couple whip stitches and he'll be fine. If you think your little duck is going to have to withstand, like I said, some pulling from, you know, if you're putting this maybe on a little kid's, I don't know, something, then you're probably going to want to do a few more stitches than I'm going to do right here. But for me, that little whip stitch right there, that's plenty. And then I'm just going to take this in the back and tie it off. Tie it off, weave in my ends, okay? Only other thing he needs is an eye, so I'm going to heat up the hot glue gun and put a little eye right here, right behind the beak. The other thing he needs is a home. So we've got our egg here. I'm going to put the blue piece of paper behind it so you can see the white a little bit better. Now again, I think this end might not be quite long enough to get all the way around, but you know what, it's already attached, so I'm going to see if I can make this work. Since I ran out, that ball ran out of thread. So if you can remember which side is the right side, You're gonna have both those front match up the bottom, and then again for this I'm just gonna whip stitch around the edge. If you feel like the purpose you're using it for is gonna need something a little more secure, by all means use a stronger stitch, go over it a couple of times. Whip stitch is pretty solid though. You just may want to go around the edge more than one time. Now you can certainly also use this egg to hold something else. I mean, I would certainly love it if this egg held candy. You could make the duck by himself, use him as an applique in a nursery, in a bathroom, wherever you wanted. So these are two great pieces together, but they're also really great pieces separately as well. We're gonna make it, oh, we're almost gonna make it. We're gonna be just a little bit short. All right, go ahead and pretend that I got it just half an inch further. Then of course you'll knot and tuck that in. And then we have got a cute little home for our little duck. He's still got his wing thread on the back there. Now again, let me show you the one that was made with the number 3 sport weight yarn versus mine here that I made with the Elizabeth number 3 coat crochet thread. Okay, so they come out a little different. Obviously the yellows are a little different. That's just, you know, because of the brand of yarn. In this guy, I've got his eye on. I've got to still put the eye on this one. But they come out pretty similar. I did use a size smaller hook for the Elizabeth since it's a slightly thinner yarn, but I crochet fairly loosely, so they came out to about the same size. I hope this video has helped you with this pattern. Again, this is pattern number FP219, and it's available on maggiescrochet.com, as is either the sport weight yarn or the Elizabeth thread, whichever you prefer to use. Thanks so much, guys. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I'll try to help you out. Thanks for watching.
Draw up a loop, draw through 2, draw through 1. Yarn over, or if you accidentally drop it, those loops won't fall off your hook. So now I'm going to continue on, skip that one, pick up this one, skip,